Alright, thank you so much for coming to the Sashiko Live Streaming. This is Atsushi. Has been 2 weeks. I have cancelled twice, and this is the coming back live session, and thank you so much for coming back as well. So this is the live streaming where I share about Sashiko Stories. Sorry, it has been a long time since I talked to the camera. This is the live streaming where I talk about Sashiko while stitching on the Sashiko. If you have any questions about the Sashiko culture, Sashiko stories, Sashiko history, Sashiko anything, please let me know. I'm not going to talk about any technique or any webinar kind of materials because it's already on the YouTube, so please check those videos first. I don't want to make it like a tutorials or webinar. Besides that, I will change the camera and you'll see me stitching at the same time. I don't want you to just watch me stitching. I just, bring something so that we can stitch together. All right, thank you. Yes, Sakura. Okay. By the way, the audio is good, right? Audio is good. I have not been stitching. I haven't stitched for a while, so please forgive me for some clumsiness. Hello. How? Thank you for asking how I'm feeling. It could be better. It's still on and off. I don't know what's going on. I used to be sick like that when I was a child, but I don't remember the last time I was like that. Well, what, Sakura? What? I think I let my guard down a little bit, which is good, which I should have done that much earlier, but I probably let myself. I allow myself to be sick. If that's the right explanation, that's probably what it is. In these 2 weeks, I did not have to work that much, or I didn't have to work that much, so probably that's the big difference between the beginning of this year and in December. At the same time, I think I have to change a bit of my mindset. Not what I do, or what I will do, but I probably have to change a bit of, how can I say it? It's not a strategy because I don't have that much specific goal, but I have to look at the situation as is instead of as I hope to be. It is happening right now, so I cannot just ignore. As much as I don't like people reading my stories or listening to my stories the way they do, that they want to listen to, I of course have the same tendency to listen or to see the reality as the way I would like to see. And I think the next year is going to be the year of that. I have to admit that some of the things are already different. And as much as I say that I'm the small stone in the big trend, I've been saying that last 3 years I have been the small stone in the big trend. And I understand that I am a small stone, and I say it everywhere. At the same time, I believed, it's a past tense, but I believed that I could be the sort of flow next to the mainstream. the last 2 weeks when I was sick in the bed, I've been thinking about it's probably not gonna be the case. I am the stone, and I'm not the one who makes the next flow. But those small stone in the big trend can cause the little whirlpool, and I really have to see the reality as is instead of as I want to see it. I think I'm an idealist. I think I'm an idealist, and as the result, last 3 years was a little difficult, and I sort of kept myself going without realizing what I was doing. Without realizing what I was doing to my body. Like even if I have a little fever, I didn't let myself rest because I didn't have to. Stitching itself can be done whenever. Like even if with the fever, I can stitch if I want to. So I have to see that. Well, but again, that's something I was thinking by myself in my brain while I was in bed, so might be different. But yeah, I'm tired of being nice. I'm not nice. I think some people don't think that I'm nice on Instagram, but I think I am tired of being nice. It's time. It's about time to. I'm not saying I'm gonna be mean, but I will. I am honest. I have been honest, but I'm not that idiot to not to have some filters when I talk to somebody. So I will have less filter, as I like to fight for those filtering. I know it does not make sense because I'm not making sense right now in my brain, but it has been very stressful last 3 years, and if I only care about my health, doing on the social media is the bad idea. There's so many opinions on their falling culture, and they think that the opinions matters. And opinions should be respected when everybody shares the same thing, but some don't even speak Japanese to teach Sashiko, yet they have strong opinions. And I try to listen, and I am trying to listen, but I think I have had enough to be just attacked. I'm not saying I'm gonna start attacking others. I don't like attacking it, but I won't be different. I will keep doing the same thing, but I just realize I just have to face that I am in the difficult, challenging situation, and this sounds like a little. I do not like to say this one because it sounds quite weak. But there's so many knives on my body right now. I try to ignore those knives. I keep saying like there's a pain, I feel hurt, but I try to convince myself that that's only the psychological things, that's only the word. I don't have to worry about it. It's just, temporary things. They don't stay here for long. They will move on. I keep saying those things. It does not hurt because they're not that serious. But I think my brain doesn't take it like that. The pain is pain. Either body or my brain, like psychological way, since they kept alarming to me that I should do something, but I didn't. And the best way to do best way to protect myself from those pain is to stop doing this social media and just focus on what I do. At the same time, that will damage the another part of myself, which is the identity. If Sashiko becomes something else completely different, the change itself will not change who I am or what it is, but the fact that it has changed will makes me regret. And I don't want to regret anything. So I will keep sacrificing my health to keep sharing the stories, and which is, I think that's what I decided to do 4 years ago. In 2019, I decided to do that. And I've been doing that here and there, like deceiving myself. And I did a pretty good job for last 3.5 years to do that. Deceive myself, let myself go. And now in these 2 weeks, it might be just have COVID. It might be I didn't get a positive, but it could have been something that I don't know. I had a fevers and nausea. I kept having nausea. I don't know if the nausea is the symptoms of COVID, but although I had I had a physical reaction. I was actually sick. I was not depressed. I have had depression before, so I know how those chronic depression. I know how it works and how I would feel if I were depressed. So it's not the depression; it's really a sick. If you have made an order, I had made a shipment while I was being sick, which means that I could move. I wore mask, I wore gloves, sanitized everything, and I was preparing for the packages. So if I were depressed, I wouldn't be able to do that too. So it was a physical sickness, but there is something more important than the health. I mean, health is very important, but I think that's what I chose to do. Like, there is something more important than health. And I would like to keep doing that for somebody who I don't know yet. I mean, for the people here, of course, but you would listen to me anyway, which I really appreciate. I strongly appreciate. So don't get me wrong. Without you, I wouldn't be doing this. But I would like to leave something behind so that somebody else in the future do not have to go through what I'm going through. So I didn't want to make it so serious, but at the same time, this is probably what was going on top of me being sick, or alternatively, or this happens when I get so many hours of thinking instead of working. When I get sick, I had a lot of time to think about. So I won't be different. But I have to start saying, let me phrase this might be a better phrase. So I am sharing the honest stories. If the stories are honest, I am not smart enough to keep memorizing all the lies I make when I share a story every day. And I don't like the contradiction. So I try to be as honest as possible to avoid any contradictions. Like, if I make one lie, I have to remember that lie, and I cannot do that especially after my me being the father, I cannot do that. Simply, my brain is not capable of doing that. So I share the honest stories. Whatever I say is quite honest. But, however, I was not honest to myself. I was not honest to my body, to my reactions, to what's going on with me. Like if somebody says something, especially like directly to me, if somebody said directly to me something, my kind of heart started pumping fast, and then my breathing get a little shallow, and I tried to kind of deny that. Well, it's just somebody who doesn't even introduce themselves or share their names, complaining very random things, and they will not be there next month or after they get tired of this Sashiko. And that's true. Nobody who gave me complaints or like those harassment stayed in Sashiko after they made the comments. Nobody. Because that's not, Sashiko is not what they want. They just don't like somebody speaking up. But I try to ignore those reactions of my body and try to suppress that because it's not necessary. If I have to take it as is, I probably had to have more days off in between, and that was not my priority. And I did not let myself do that until this month for 3 years. And I'll give you a little interesting example. This might be an interesting example, and I hope this makes sense, but so there was it happens quite a lot, but well, it used to happen quite a lot, and these days does not happen much, but I get questions or even accusation or corrections that the pronunciation of my Japanese Sashiko is wrong, or they question like, are you really saying that Sashiko in the correct way? So they know me as a Japanese, and they listen to my English live stream. I think they listen to my live streaming in English, and when I speak in English, I say Sashiko in certain way, and that's not the Sashiko they would like to hear. Purely pronunciation wise, and they make a big discussion about it. So my answer is Sashiko, and please listen to my Japanese live streaming. And in that Japanese streaming, if you find the word Sashiko somewhere, that's the pronunciation of the Sashiko. But when I speak in English, I of course follow the phonics of the English I learned. Otherwise, it's very, very, very strange to force the Japanese pronunciation to the English conversation. It's like mixing two completely different meal into one plate, which is not wrong, but it's not good. You don't want to mix, like you don't want to use ketchup for sushi. I mean, ketchup itself is great, and I don't want to use soy sauce for fries, but again, we shouldn't mix those things. And those discussions are very, very stupid for me. I think it's really stupid. Yet that's their concern. And those discussions are done in English. And I just still don't understand why is pronunciation so important. But that's probably what makes them authentic. If you can say Sashiko in the Japanese way, or the one Japanese would pronounce, that makes them authentic. I mean, it is important to pronounce, like pronunciation is very important to be authentic. I shouldn't use the Japanese accent when I speak English to communicate. But that's a one example, and those tiny minor things have been happening here and there pretty much every day. Every time I share something, somebody are not happy about it. And there are tons of videos already there, and we try to cut and paste things. So those are the reasons. And I kept ignoring actually. I knew it was there, but I kept ignoring that. And it has been doing that for the last 3 years. And I let myself down. I mean, I let my guard down. Don't underestimate good health and the impact of stress on your immune system. Yeah, so stress is something affects to the good health. Since I was a very sick child, I know the importance of health. I wished to be healthier when I was a child. And I know that, the 100% I know that in order for me to be healthy, I need to cut this stress out. The stress itself is the reason I'm being sick. But I shouldn't cut that. This stress is somebody I have to go through, and this is the pain that I have to go through. As many people say, not many, as some people say that it is too late for me to share what Sashiko is in English. And that's not really the opinion, that's just, impression from those who have been practicing Sashiko last 30 years, 40 years in English. There are people who have been doing Sashiko 30 years, 40 years in English, not Japanese, but they don't write a book, they don't teach, because they know that they shouldn't, which I need help, so I keep convincing them to write a book or to teach. But they say and they of course encourage me to teach or write a book, with saying that, well, it's probably too late. And it is not, there's no such a thing as being too late. But it is their impression, their opinions are true when the statement becomes like, it is, if I were to share what Sashiko is without paying, it is too late. In a different way, it is not too late to share what Sashiko is when I decided to go through the pain. And as you know, I have decided to go through the pain. But I think I underestimate the size of the pain. But again, that does not become the reason for me to stop doing it. I cannot stop doing that. No matter how much I understand health is important, there is something more important than health for this matter. So I have to find the balance. No, okay. Teaching Sashiko is hard as teaching the meaning of wabi-sabi. Yes, thank you. Teaching Sashiko as the technique is not that difficult. I mean, it's quite simple. But the problem is that those people who can teach Sashiko as the part of one aspect, like let's say I'm just teaching technique, those humble people don't teach per se. I hope it makes sense. They teach Sashiko as the whole picture of Japanese stitchery, and that's the problem. If they teach Sashiko as one like just part of technique, probably it's not that. It's easy. It can be done in like a few hours of teaching. How to pick the needle, how to use the thimble, how to use the thread, how to prepare the patterns. I mean, those are already on my YouTube, and anybody can learn that. But that does not explain the whole picture of Sashiko, or even the most important part of Sashiko. And current trend is ignoring the most important part of Sashiko intentionally, probably, and they're trying to focus on the instant, fast outcome of Sashiko. That's why we all care about the result, which I don't care much. And they're calling it Sashiko without... No, I think they are willing to learn if they share that, but the teachers are... Those people who lead Sashiko are now trying to ignore that intentionally so that they don't have to face the reality. They don't have to study more. They want to make it very simple. So simplification is very good, but has to be done by somebody who knows what's going on. If somebody who does have no, like if I summarize or if I simplify the American history, that's a wrong thing to do. I know nothing about it. Not a nothing, but, you know, I cannot talk about it. It's simple. It's... by the way, teaching wabi-sabi is very, 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 very extremely difficult. So if anybody can do that, please let me know. This is not gonna be even discussion. This is very important. It's a very important phrase that I kind of agreed with many Japanese people. But when we can describe, when we can explain what wabi-sabi is logically in English, that's not already wabi-sabi. The concept of wabi-sabi cannot be explained in English. And, you know, if I say that, I am denying all the books written about that. So it's a pretty strong statement, but that's my impression. Wabi-sabi is something between the word that we feel. So wabi means certain way, sabi means certain way, but it's not like 1 + 1 is 2. There's something else in between, and those betweens are very difficult to logically explain that. Helen, hello. Yes, I wasn't sure if I could do the live streaming, but I will reply to your email too. So in Japanese household, let's say my mother, like like old-fashioned Japanese family household, it's not, you know, it's not something we should be proud of, but usually women prepare everything for like dinner, you know, housework they do, and those are the kind of old-fashioned Japanese household. Husband work outside to bring money, women stay at home and then do the chores, cleaning, dishing, like washing, you know, making food and such. And it's kind of a joke, but husband say only one word, oi. Oi means like a hey, calling the wife without saying the wife's name, hey. And in that one word, they can communicate. So by husband saying oi, wife understands what is needed there. So wife understands based on the kind of conditions. For example, like the day of time, day of the actions, And it's kind of a joke. Sometimes comedy makes fun of it, but sometimes that's true. That was my grandma's age, grandparents' age. And that's not really happen. As long as I know, it's not really happening in English. So there's so many things between the word and answers. And that's something I really have to share. And if we're gonna just talk about Sashiko's technique, we don't have to worry about those things. And if you wanna call your stitching Sashiko, please go ahead. Just I don't want to be so simple. Although it's simple, it's not simple from cultural perspective. And those stitches like results are nothing. Those are not that important. Anybody can do this. What we need is why and what for. And those stories will change everything. But when one decided to ignore those stories, those who learn Sashiko after that will be very, it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. Didi-san, thank you. Yep, that's the that's the scary thing. Or it can be like I need a tea. I need like the meal. Bring the more rice, or take the newspaper from outside. Post box. I need to take a bath. And can be like let's go together outside. There's some dirt on the floor, so you have to pick it up. So any like order can be done oi, and the recipient as the wife has to, wife as the recipient have to understand. Like they don't have to, they do understand it. So it's not a good. Well, I think it's a bad thing. I don't like it personally. But it existed. I mean, it might exist even today. And I personally don't like that. Especially, I am the one who is doing everything in this family household. I cook and I clean. Not everything, but I'm the main caretaker, so that. But it happened. It's the history. It's the truth. And Sashiko was there in those ages as well. It's just sad to see that something I lived with are becoming, or more directly, has become. It's already done. Has become something else completely. I probably ignore that. In 2019, it was already different. But I think I kept deceiving myself. I probably had to deceive myself to be strong. Otherwise, for that, I think I became strong enough to accept it. It is not the same thing anymore. Although I sounds like very desperate, and I probably am desperate, but I'm sad. I feel pain, but I'm not hopeless. I have a lot of hope. It just takes much longer time to do what I need to do, but there are tons of hopes. And that's the reason I can keep doing it. If there's no hope, that's too painful to keep doing it. Like there's, like no matter how, like that's gonna be the case of me prioritizing the health over my dignity, because health is more important than dignity in some cases, And without the hope, in the case that I know that I cannot keep my dignity, I think I have to focus on the health. Right now, since I have a hope that I can keep my dignity and personality and identity, I can risk to sacrifice health over my message. Ha! The hope is that hope is you, like you or those people who learn Sashiko from me. They have been doing Sashiko the way my Sashiko artisans did. And that's good. That's if they can do it, if you can do it, the many other people can do it. It's just a matter of timing for them to realize it. Or realize the fact, or realize that something's missing. Majority will not probably realize that, but I gotta keep going and hoping. Yeah. So that was today's conversation, today's live streaming. Something is more important than health, which is the dignity, or something I have to live for. Also, I don't like the trend of kintsugi, which the real meaning is totally ignored. Many people are applying phony gold color glue on the ceramic, where I am there with you. I don't know if you're Japanese, or if you're Japanese with English, I'm there with you 100%. If you are non-Japanese with this feeling, I'm there with you too. But I think today we live in the world where simple is the best thing. And, it has to be easy. It has to be compact. It has to be simplified so that anybody can get it within like this. And they don't need a truth. They need the truth they want to. They don't need a truth. They need something looks like the truth. At least they need something that they can feel like they have a truth. So it does not matter if kintsugi requires actual lacquer or not. It's just has to be broken and then glued. There we go. As a native Japanese, thank you. That makes sense. Thank you. Your English is great, so I thought that there might be the possibility of kintsugi, sashiko, wabi-sabi. Those are probably they are much more concept, which I don't know. They are used, commercialized. Used is probably the better way, not a commercialized. They are used to achieve somebody's goal. And those somebodies are often those with power. Here, the people with English. They don't have to learn Japanese to teach kintsugi or sashiko because they have enough audience there who speaks English. So those audience doesn't have to be language, but for example, if I decided to teach like regular stitching, sewing, I can probably get many students because I have already Sashiko as the foundation. Many people would like to expand their learning. So if I decided to teach embroidery, let's say like Western embroidery, some people will take my class, probably. But I don't do that. I can probably teach kintsugi for that. I can probably teach kintsugi, and many people will take my class, which I don't because I'm not qualified to do that. But many teachers who has their own field decided to use other concept. to use. And there's nothing wrong with doing that when they know what it is. Or it's perfectly fine if they know what they are doing. So there are many Sashiko teachers asking me if it's okay to teach Sashiko. My answer is yes, please teach Sashiko. But please mention that there might be something else around it. So there are two kinds of teachers. One professional, one is a guide. Everybody, those teachers are professional in one thing in their field, but if they decided to expand their field, I asked to be a guide. But there are so many trends, like they want to conclude themselves so that they don't realize, they don't find out the truth. And that's so sad. That's not right. See, those are kind of nasty feeling that I was carrying, and I kept saying that here and there, but I did not let myself say those things. I still have a decency. I still have something to keep myself sane. I'm not gonna attack somebody specific. That's not my thing. I don't like doing that. Wait, so as a Japanese party living in the US, I struggle as well with those trends. Now I am a little bit shy about my English. ありがとうございます。すいません。こんな下手くそな英語ですいません。So, now I have to stop. No, I shouldn't stop. I want them to listen to the voice from Japanese people. And so here, her name is Sashiko-san. Her voice is the truth. And if she says that kintsugi is not the trend we see today, it's not. And we can choose. Like there's the other Japanese people probably who say that kintsugi is just using the gold color glue to broken pieces. There might be other Japanese people saying that. Those are two completely different comments, two different stories. But we tend to choose the easier option because they don't want to use actual gold. They don't want to use actual lacquer to make it happen. So we tend to go to the easy way. And it's okay to go easy way, but we have to acknowledge the other side of the stories. Otherwise, we're going to break the culture. And that's what's going on. We tend to choose the easiest way all the time and simplifying it. And this becomes a big trend. As the result, many people who are jumping into this culture will not even see this happening. And this is what's happening to Sashiko. Unfortunately, nobody taught this core part last 30 years. Nobody. As long as I know, nobody. Because I've been teaching Sashiko to more than 1,000 people by now, and nobody said they knew, including somebody who has like 40 years of experience. I mean, I respect her to coming to my class after teaching Sashiko for 30 years, practicing Sashiko for 40 years, and teaching Sashiko for 30 years. It must be one big challenge to join my workshop. And she gave me the comment that it was the best time in her Sashiko life, which is more than my age, my lifetime. So it's just a matter of acknowledgement. Kintsugi is not only. Kintsugi is I don't want to say kintsugi is mending. It's not mending. It's not it is if we look at the process itself, yes, it can be interpreted as the mending. Kintsugi and mottainais are not gonna be together. Like equal, it's not equal. people say for the sustainability, it's not that. But if I say it's not that, you will naturally ask, not you, they will naturally ask, then what is it? Like, as if I have a responsibility to explain more. Like, I don't own any explanation if I say no, but they expect that. Sure, that's what's going on in Sashiko. That's what's going on in many other cultures, I guess. Many other words. 相当長いな、この人。Well. Wow, what the heck is this long thread? Don't take this long thread. Don't take this long thread. それを説明しようとするの切なくなりますね。Sashikoさん's comment is that it makes us また難しい言葉使うな、切なく it makes us またSo her comment is that it makes wow, there's a reason she didn't write it in English because there's no word to explain that. Come on. It's not like she like if I have to translate it, I would say that thinking about what was going on in the Sashiko or even Kintsugi makes us sad. But that does not explain the whole. It is sad. So 切ない. The word is 切ない. 切ない means it's 切ない is the kanji character means like kill, 切る. Which means cut or 切ないって英語でなんて言うっけ? ちょっとググります. Well, let me Google it. I don't like Google, but let me try to Google. There gotta be some better explanation. This is my 10th year, so I should be able to. See, painful, it comes painful. It's not a painful. It's not painful. It's more like sad. So the word she wrote, 切ない, if I Google the translation, it says painful, trying, oppressive, suffocating. Probably sad inside, hurt inside is the word. This might help a bit, but the feeling I had and I still have toward this trend of Sashiko being completely different or has become completely different is sad and painful, but not the way from the Western value. Sadness and also pain with acceptance. We really have to have that concept of accept. We, of course, try to fight back to that change. At the same time, we know that we have to accept it. We accept. Like the acceptance is one of the core value of Japanese people, Japanese culture. Not the word to describe Japanese culture, but without understanding the acceptance, I don't think we cannot explain what Japanese culture is or Japanese people are. The feeling, not acceptance as the action, acceptance as the status or condition. And sad or painful itself is too strong because we have a choice to deny those feelings. But acceptance, sad in acceptance. See, since I'm using my brain, I cannot stitch. That's why I don't. Oopsie. But yeah, it made me cry. It makes me cry is one good, very, very, very close translation. But we don't have to cry if we can fight back. But we choose to cry in acceptance. I'm not explaining well, but we accept. Well, then you may say, like, why don't you accept the change right now then? That's true. That's very true, and we should accept it. And that's why I am struggling. And I did not accept it. I did not accept it for the last 3 years. I was hoping something different. I was struggling. Again, but I'm not hopeless. That's a good part. That's the only thing, only thin thread I have left. I'm not hopeless. I'm hopeful for that matter. リリーさんありがとう。そうね、全部当たってるんですけど。Sad inside, hurt inside, painful, sweet, sorrow, bitter, sweet. どうぞ。なんでこれこんな長いと。It looks like two of those characters means cut the hurt. Yes, those 切ない means a cut and hurt. Could be hurt. But it probably has to have this sense of acceptance. Sorry, I'm kind of stopping it because because like, you know, since thank you so much for coming, by the way. Since the Japanese people here, and she's sharing her, you know, she's sharing her experience with the empathy, and I am trying to explain logically what we are feeling the empathy about. Empathy. But we don't have to verbalize that when it happens. Like, if this happens, if I were talking to Tsuchiko-san in Japanese, the process of explaining the feeling in logic do not exist. We don't have to have that. We can probably say just ne, and that's the end of the story. わかりますね. Done. Because we share the same expectation, experience, culture. Sorry, we share the same experience, expectations, and also pain and happiness for that matter. And we call that culture. Now some people represent the culture of Sashiko or Kintsugi without even trying to understand it. Like, they don't have to understand fully. I don't even understand fully. But they don't even know that those things exist. But I think they translate setsunai to painful or sadness without doubt. But the more you know about English and Japanese, there are certain words that we cannot literally translate. We cannot translate without explanation. We can try to explain that, but there are words that we cannot. bridge. Not a bridge, I'm sorry. We cannot identify. We can bridge it, but we cannot identify that. And that's why I keep asking to, listen to the stories. And again, you're not the one who I am asking to, because you're already listening. And without you, I wouldn't be here. But well, I'll be back. As much as I was very sick in the bed, I had a lot of time to think about those things. Please don't take this much long thread. It's not a good idea. One day I would like to explain everything, but it's gonna be... I have like 160 or 70 article on my Patreon, yet I don't feel like I have explained enough. I have 2,000, more than 2,000 posts, which is about like 300 pages on Google Doc. I still don't feel like I've explained enough. So let's see what I can do. Well, thank you so much for coming back. Sorry about 2 weeks that I had to cancel those. I will come back next week. Same thing, same idea, same stitching. Don't take that long thread. What did I do? But I hope that many people who enjoy Sashiko today will listen to the stories like you do here. And again, that's it. That's the only things I ask. If they listen to the stories that they try to ignore, they will find something else. They don't have to understand it. They don't have to understand it. Or even you don't have to understand. You don't have to go to Japan. You don't have to learn Japanese. I mean, those are plus, of course, but it does not qualify you to be somebody. It's just the difference is the acknowledgement. There's a so don't buying a kit of kintsugi with a... I saw something like, the kit for kintsugi. I think there's such a thing like that. Like a complete set for kintsugi. Like you buy things you can actually break on purpose. Well, anyway, today was the coming back live streaming, so I brought some topic, which is the health can be secondary, which is true, but I of course have to take care of myself too, and I really appreciate those words. But I wanted to share that they are something that I would like to do even with sacrificing my health. After today, starting next week, I will go back to the regular live streaming, and if there's any topic for me to talk about, I'm happy to do so. If not, I will bring something again, but don't really, I won't. Don't follow somebody who don't know what's going on. That's not even that. They know what is going on. That's the problem. They know what they're doing. That's why it's kind of difficult to point it out. If they don't know what they're doing, what they have to do is just acknowledge it. And difficult. Protecting culture is very difficult. Because you know why, probably you know why, but protecting culture is difficult because we cannot protect culture. Culture is something the people who are in that culture create. So here, if I were to say the Sashiko culture, it is the culture of those by doing Sashiko. But now there's so many people who are doing Sashiko, some with acknowledgement, some without acknowledgement. Hello D, thank you. Happy holiday. You're the D, right? If it's not, I'm sorry. I will see you next year, or probably I will do the next Thursday, hopefully. So if you see you there, I'll see you. If not, Happy New Year, and I will see you there. Okay, I will stop here after this. If you're watching this as archive, please leave the comment when you have any any requests for me to talk about. Otherwise, I hope you take care of yourself too. I mean, everybody take care of yourself, okay? I don't think I got a flu because maybe I didn't get I was very careful about COVID. So I was very anxious about COVID. So I kept taking the test. I did not go to positive. So it's not a COVID. I don't think it's the RS because I didn't have that much wheezing or coughing. I had a fever and also nausea for like almost 2 weeks. And last time I had those things are kind of not a virus, psychological. Tired. I was tired for that. Very tired. Very, very tired from both physical and mental. But at the same time, there are flu going on. There are tons of things going on around. I think I hope if you are listening to this in the US, you may be experiencing a big storm, and be careful with that. Please take care of yourself. Please prepare waters, check the water pipe and such. It's very strange, but where I live in Pennsylvania, it is extremely warm. Not extremely, it's comparably warm. It's like 40 or 45, which is crazy. It should be below 32, but I think it's gonna be cold tomorrow. Anyway, it's gonna be one heck of the Christmas for the snowstorm. Please take care of yourself, and I will see you. Oh, I forgot to ask if you can click the good button. That'd be helpful for me to keep this channel health. And I hope to see you next week. ありがとうございました. Thank you so much.